Howdy folks, welcome back to Oklahoma Homesteader. We are out in the high tunnel this evening, and cooler weather I should say, is back in Oklahoma. We've been in the 80s, sunny. It's felt like summer already. It is March 3rd. Yeah, March 3rd today. And like I said, a little bit cooler weather is back, and we're expecting for the second week of March, we're expecting what I saw from some of the meteorologists was record cold weather for Oklahoma. So we're definitely nowhere near clear of freezing. So hopefully nobody's planted anything outside yet. Today I'm going to talk about sweet potato slips. So the past several years I've grown my own sweet potato slips because it's free pretty much. So I've got some leftover sweet potatoes from last year. I've got 4 nice specimens here that are leftover from last year that I grew. So I've been doing this probably 3 years now. I bought slips online from, I don't even remember who it was from, but it was a really well-known sweet potato company. It's what they do is they sell potato and sweet potato slips and what do you call potato starts, whatever, I don't know, seed potatoes. There you go. And ever since then, I've just kind of held over some sweet potatoes, 4 or 5 from the previous year's harvest. So these have been sitting in my shop all winter so far. So from about, I think I dug them up in like maybe beginning of November. And it is, like I said, now March 3rd. So these things they've been setting they've been in the cool. They don't have direct sunlight, nothing like that. None of them have any sprouts or anything on them. I did have a really big sweet potato that had sprouts already on it, or slips, and I'm not sure what happened to it. I don't know if it got too cold in the shop. It typically doesn't freeze in our shop, and I know that because the dog's water buckets never freeze. So I don't know what happened to them, but maybe it was just that. But this year, I am going to try, I've got some of these tinfoil pans. They're maybe 3 inches deep. These are actually from Qdoba, the restaurant. These things are just trash when you're done. It just seems wasteful, and I think they're actually perfect. 1 sweet potato in each one, and we'll see what happens. I've got 2, I know I have 2 different varieties here, and I'll have to look at my records from when I originally bought them to see what they are. Now, I guess by now they may have cross-pollinated a little, and I don't know if I've got an actual, genuine variety of sweet potato, and I don't really even care, to be honest. They taste great and they grow well. So I've got 4 of these little trays. I've got some seed starting mix here. I don't really think it needs to be seed starting mix. It could probably just be garden soil, whatever you got. And I've got these 4 sweet potatoes. So I'm going to show you what I do, and we'll see how this turns out. All right, here at this nice potting bench I built several years ago for Chief. Like I said, we've got 4 trays. Let's get a little seed starting mix in here. I don't really stick to one brand of soil over the other. This is just what they had. And so that's what we're going with. We need a little bit more here. So we're going to plant these things just flat on its side, and we're going to bury about half of it in the soil. Just going to press it down into there. And that's going to be it. I am going to gently water this, and then we're going to move everything over there to my grow tent, which is inside my high tunnel. So it's kind of a second layer of plastic. And I also have a little bit of heat source in there. And we're going to get these guys a little water, and we're going to get them a bunch of humidity and a bunch of heat, and see what happens. Okay. Now, what should happen is they'll start being little vines. Okay, they're called slips when they're immature, but they'll start just popping up, you know, all along the sides of these and on top. And that's just the new plant growing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why couldn't you just take this sweet potato and plant it in the ground, right? Those new slips will give you more sweet potatoes. But actually, they won't. The sweet potato, if you plant it, it's going to give you a lot of vine. It'll be really pretty, you know, the vine's beautiful. It looks similar to the sweet potato vine. The commonly are kind of a purple or a neon green that you buy at the Lowe's or the nursery or whatever, and they really fill in, trail all over, and it's a really beautiful plant. It's the same thing as far as foliage, but it's more of just a regular green. So it's a really pretty, you're going to get a lot of foliage, but at the end of the season, you're not going to have any sweet potatoes. So that's why you have to grow them from the slip, which we'll see later on in this video, if everything goes right, the slips, and from the slip is where you're actually going to get the sweet potato. So let's get these things moved over to the grow tent and maybe check on the vegetable seedlings while we're at it. All right, so I'm filming alone like normal, and so I can't film everything I do. I don't have enough cameras, I don't have enough tripods, I don't have all this stuff. So I'm going to turn you around, we're going to take a look. Now, if you haven't seen it in my other videos, basically we're in the high tunnel, and this is a separate grow tent, I'll say. It's just another layer of plastic. And, well, I guess I'll show you this first, but I've got these set in here. We've got them wetted down a little bit, and we're going to get these things some heat and some humidity and see what happens. So that's going to be it for now. We'll check back in, I don't really know how long it'll be. A few weeks, I would imagine, at least. It could be anywhere from 3 weeks to several months before we'll get some slips off of these sweet potatoes. And that reason being is the fresher the sweet potato is, the longer it's going to take for it to want to reproduce, because that's what it's doing. So like I said, these are from November. And so they've been, you know, aging, I guess I'll say, for quite some time now. So my hope is that these will get slips much sooner than, say, if you just went and bought sweet potatoes, you could just go to the store and buy sweet potatoes. But those sweet potatoes may have been harvested, 30 days ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, right? And imported in from Mexico or wherever, and that's fine. But the point is they're not as mature, they're not as aged. So let's let's stand by for now and see what these things do here in a few weeks.
All right, we're fast forwarding several weeks. Today is April 19th, and we've had a turn in weather again. It's cool, and we got some rain last night, which we're very thankful for. But I'm in here in the high tunnel again, and I want to show you the progress on these sweet potato slips. So it's about perfect timing to get these ready to go out in the garden. I plant my sweet potatoes in the outside garden, not here in the high tunnel. I suppose you could put them in the high tunnel. I think they like the heat. But these vines will go all over the place, and I don't really want that in my high tunnel here, just the way I have things set up anyway. So I put them outside, and I let the vines go all over the kind of the aisles, I guess you'd call it, the aisle area, the walkways, which for the most part I either have brick or just wood chip walkways in between all my beds. So I put them in beds where the vine can just trail out all over into the wood chip area. So let's take a look at these. They're doing really well. It took forever. It was a really, really slow start. And I was kind of thinking, man, what am I doing wrong? Because I've done this before. But quick turnaround, and like I said, it was about perfect timing because I'm about ready to put them out here in the dirt. So it was perfect. So let's take a look. All right, so I think this was the one that was doing the best. So you can see all the growth on this thing. This one is the same way. We've got a ton of growth there. And then I had one other one here that is just now, I think this might be a different variety, but you can see all the purple sprouts on there. We're getting some there too. They may just get planted a little bit later. Here's the rest of my stuff that I haven't gotten planted out in the dirt yet. We got peppers and all kinds of peppers, some different herbs. And then my tomato plants are just dying to get out of these tiny little pots. But anyway, back on subject, sorry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pinch these off at the base of the sweet potato. Now 2 days ago, I pinched one off just so I would have a little fast forward so I can wrap this video up. So 2 days ago, I pinched this one off, and it had a couple little stubby roots on it. And just in a couple of days, you can see the roots, if I can get it to focus, that have grown on this thing. So that's pretty good. And I just pulled that out of off the potato and put it in a jar of water. I try not to let it sink all the way to the bottom here, but that's what we got. So this, I would say, is plenty ready to go out in the dirt. Lots of good roots on there. When I pulled it off of the potato, it had a handful of roots that were maybe a 1/4 inch long. I could have just planted it in the ground right away, and I think that would have been, well, I know it would have been totally fine. But I thought it would be neat to just get a little bit better root system. I knew this cold front was coming in, and I thought, well, it's not going to hurt anything to put it in some water for a few days, get through this cold spell, and then plant them outside. So let me try to, if I can keep this dumb thing in focus here. can see on there, I mean, there's 2 or 3 roots on there, and that's it. But that is definitely enough. I don't think you really need any roots on there, to be honest. I think you'd be totally fine with just the vine and sticking it in the water. Just the, you know, the greenery part. We'll see what this one looks like. Yeah, see, this one was actually on top of the potato and didn't have any contact with the soil. But that's going to be plenty. As long as some of these little sprouts here get in the water, we're going to be totally good. So I'm going to have to get some more mason jars for sure. But I'm going to pull these off and get them in some water for a few days, get through this little cool front, and I'll have sweet potato slips ready to go for when it warms up a little bit, when the sun comes back out and it stops raining. So as you can see, this worked out really, really well, and you can basically have a never-ending supply of sweet potatoes for your garden if you do this correctly. If you keep some of your harvest over winter, I would just try to prevent it from freezing. But I put mine in my shop, and it's got to get darn cold for it to freeze in my shop. But I have done this several years now just in my shop. I think if I probably put them in my house on the counter, they would be even better, maybe sprout earlier. But this is what works for me. I try not to wash these off. When I harvest them, I just brush the dirt off, but I don't wash it all the dirt off. I just kind of leave them, you know, where if you picked it up after it dried out, you know, it may crumble off some dirt or some sand or whatever. No big deal. But that's kind of why I leave them in the shop. Not a huge fan of that in my house on my counter all winter, you know. So this works for me. So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up. The rest of it is easy. You stick the root area into the dirt and they're gonna grow. So looking forward to another good harvest of sweet potatoes this year. And we'll see as we do some garden updates throughout the rest of the summer. We'll make sure I show you these sweet potato vines, how they're doing, and as they progress. But they'll go all over the place, and it's just kind of a neat way to kind of ground cover, I guess. It's better than looking at just wood chips or, you know, the ground, the grass or whatever. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for the updates. And until then, have a good day and happy Easter tomorrow.